Hey guys, and welcome to a random, or what do I call these? Loose thread. And if you are unaware, although I'm sure if you're onto YouTube, you have seen it all over the place, but within the last week or so, Ravelry has come out with a new policy update. This policy update bans Trump supporters and Trump administration supporters. So this little loose thread is just going to be over that topic and a little bit of my opinions without really going too in depth about my opinions because, well, guys, we're on the internet. There is no safe place. So anyways, if you want to hear about my little tidbits on this topic, stay tuned. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next one. Oh, and BTW, there will be no photos in this one, so this is strictly just a audio little loose thread. Okay guys, so since you know I don't like to read things and I don't feel like having you listen to my screen reader, I'm not going to go over their policy update. Plus, I'm kind of trying to see when they will decide to make this widely known to their active users, because since I have things bookmarked and just go basically straight to the forum page when I use Ravelry, I have not seen this policy update because I never go to the front page. I have not received an email that I am aware of. And yeah, so I don't think Ravelry is very forthcoming with this information. And if you're like me and other than YouTube, really avoid all sources of outside information, this is kind of, I don't know. I don't think it's a very positive on their end that they've actually reached out this information to their general user base. So my overwhelming opinion of this matter is no matter how flat you make a pancake, it still has two sides. So as I've mentioned before, I am a Libra and I really hold fast and true to this statement that I just made. I am incapable of not seeing both sides of a situation, at least two sides of a situation, if not multiple other sides. So at this point, I would like to make the statement that I am not leaving Ravelry because even though I don't agree with the decision they made, I agree with their decision to make it. And what was this decision? If you are unaware and haven't watched, as far as I understand it, because again, like I said, I haven't actually gotten it emailed to me as far as I know, that Ravelry has decided that if you are a Trump supporter or a Trump administration supporter, you are a racist. I think that's about what you can come to. They said if you are in support of the Trump administration or Trump himself, you are a white supremacist. Now, that is some major name calling and bullying, if you ask my opinion. So, yeah, I don't know how in depth I want to go on this about my opinion, but basically, I don't like it when other people call other people names in such a wide, paintbrush stroke. Yeah, do not like it. It does not sit well with me. But where Ravelry is still going to stay on my radar, and I will stay with them, is because they are still the best website I can use as a disabled person to get patterns and to be able to use patterns and to find patterns. They are the absolute best site that I have found and still basically the only site. So if you have issues with this policy change that I have made, I strongly encourage you to go make another website, make it as great as Ravelry is, and please invite me to come join it because I am going to jump right on board because, like I said, there is no safe place. We are on the internet. So them trying to quote unquote make this a safe place by banning these people, it's just not going to happen. One of the first things that came to mind when I first heard of this being a cover topic was, really, people, you're going to leave Ravelry and take all your stuff over to Facebook because Facebook isn't doing this? Are you for real? Last I understood, Facebook pretty much, they don't ban you, but they do silence any conservative speak or right political speak, and they push any left or liberal viewpoints. So how is it helpful to take all your stuff to Facebook and leave Ravelry? I just don't get it. Then another thing that came up was the whole matter of Ravelry putting resources towards this new witch hunt policy and not putting resources towards the intellectual property theft issue, which again, I am totally on board. They really need to go into that intellectual theft property issue and take the resources away from this witch hunt that really doesn't help anyone, at least in my opinion, of course. But yeah, like I said before, there isn't any other website like this currently that is, I guess, widely used or well put together. Because, like I mentioned earlier in the weekly whip this week, most other sites that have a, I guess, glossary of free patterns or whatever are so bogged down with ads that they are just not usable. And maybe you guys that have vision don't have to come across this quite as bad, but when you are using a screen reader, it can just be unbearable to try and get some of these things. And pretty much your only solution is to copy paste into a Word document and go back and forth with that, because you can't get the pages to load. I mean, that's why 90% of the time I usually use Ravelry downloads, because I need that PDF copy, and a lot of PDFs even aren't always screen reader friendly, but at least I have that option. And if it isn't screen reader friendly, a lot of times, if it's a good designer, which there are bad designers out there, guys, if it's a good designer, I can go and ask them for a text only copy and they will give it to me. Now, I have come across patterns where they never get back to me, or they go, screw you. So, there are good and bad people on both sides. But yeah, I need to be able to access patterns in a way that I can access patterns. So for now, like I said, I am sticking with Ravelry. Now on to what is actually going on. So I have pretty much fallen down the rabbit hole trying to get information for you guys. Now, I think to this point in the at least 24 videos I've seen over this topic on YouTube, there have been 2 that have mentioned this. Maybe 3, but I think 2. The main one and the first one that I watched was by the Knit Girls, and I will try to leave a card for you in this here, so that you can go watch it. I believe it was about 35 minutes into the video. It is at the end of their video, so about the last 10 minutes of their podcast, they went over this topic. But from what they said, and why I kept searching for more information, was that this was not a spontaneous thing. This was not over the topics that came up earlier this year with the inclusion and other things, which I have seen on all the other things that are not fiber related podcasts where they have covered the topic, because it is national and international news of what Ravelry has done with this policy change. The actual thing that had happened was actually 2 wrongs not making a right. A surprise, I know! But so somebody made a pro-Trump pattern. This, again, strictly on Ravelry's platform. So yes, they had the right to make some kind of rash decision about it. Somebody made a pro-Trump pattern, then somebody else flagged the pattern, and when a pattern is flagged, this information is sent to the designer as well as to the Ravelry team. So this person's information got into the hands of basically the person that they dislike. Now, what should Ravelry done? They should have gone and changed how they, distribute this information. I know Etsy has had a lot of issues with this kind of stuff where they are going, completely insane about trying to keep their buyers information private. So Ravelry, don't you think maybe you need to go and I think they have done it where you can leave anonymous flags and comments and things, but really? It's been 10 years and you haven't had to deal with this so far? So anyways, so what had happened was this person left a flag. The designer got this information and then leaked out the name to other people, from my understanding. That's how I understand it. Again, I cannot find more details on this, at least in the little time that I have had to try and research it. And then this person that originally flagged the thing started getting all sorts of hate spread to them. Okay, guys, I said it before, and I'll say it a third time in this little thing. We are on the internet. There is no safe place. This is not your safe place. This is not your cry room. No. You want that, you go and, you go to a room and you do it by yourself, because everyone is entitled to their own opinions. They don't have to be right. They don't have to be yours. They don't have to be mine. But everyone has their own opinion that is based on their own personal life situations. And it just, I get so annoyed that everyone has to get so tangled up in what other people feel. And I guess I feel this really strongly because I have a friend that is very, very on this topic all the time, always trying to get me to side with her. And I'm like, it's ugly. I don't side with ugly. I might agree with you, but I do not like the way you're presenting it to me. It's ugly. And guys, I was reading a book by Mother Teresa in the last couple days when I've had my internet issues. And she said it really well in that book. And then sometime I'll get you a list of the books that I've read this year, and hopefully I can get it on there, since I use a BARD, which is a program by the NLS, which is a National Library Service for the blind and disabled. I don't know how widely spread some of these books are, and some of the stuff might be out of print or hard to get, or so that's why I can't just link it for you, because it's on a server that I can't really share with the general public. But in this book, she said how you basically can't change other people's opinions. You can just do the best to be you. And no matter how ugly people are, she chooses to see the good in them. And that's really what I try to, not always, but try to live a lot of my life by, is trying to find the good in people. And so, yeah, I don't agree with Ravelry, but I'm going to see the good that they do for me by having all these patterns available and accessible to me, how they have brought me this forum base that I can operate and can use and connect with all these other crafters. I'm going to focus on that good and stay with Ravelry. So yes, I understand if you have left it and choose to leave it, choose to take all your patterns down. I just want you to know that you are, by doing that, isolating your maker base to those that are willing to go off of Ravelry and find them. And I guess I have littles up, so I'm going to go ahead and go, guys. And I hope you enjoyed listening to my thoughts on this topic. There was probably a lot more that I was going to cover, but yeah, I've ran out of time. So talk to you later, guys.